Hello everybody, this is the Significant Figures Review for Advanced Chemistry from the beginning of the year. And in the new building, using the new board, so hopefully the board works out okay. Having a few issues, but I think I can kind of make it work until the kind of technology, the tech guys kind of clean things up a little bit. So we'll see how this goes. So we did a lot of significant figure stuff last year, so we should be able to zip through this. But if you recall, the two main places are lab applications, gathering data from pieces of equipment, and then the calculator application. And if you recall from the lab application, if we have say a large graduated cylinder and a smaller one, we're going to be much more confident in a number pulled from the smaller one. If we're doing something really important, you want to make sure you have a reasonable amount of significant digits. So say if we're pulling a number from the large graduated cylinder, oh, there you go right there. The large graduated cylinder, you're going to have a number, and I'm just making this up, that cylinder won't go that small, but say you can go to 1 decimal place, 2 significant figures, and we'll talk about significant figures in a second. This is where I'm having a few issues with the board, so we'll see how this goes. So there's a large one. If you have the small graduated cylinder, you could maybe get a number 6.230. So you can go to better significant digits. And again, I apologize for some board issues. So these numbers are going to be pretty rough, but I'd like to kind of get the video going just to kind of test the system out. Calculator application is, in math, they tell you to round to the 10th spot, the 100th spot, whatever the case may be. But say you get a number like 11.3847.2. Get a long number off your calculator. Well, how far do you go? And in science, this is it's pretty important. In math, they just say cut it off, but in science, it's pretty important. You guys recall a lot of that from last year. So as far as determining what's significant, that's the first step. This is the middle of those notes that you have. These are significant, yes. And these are not, no. Not significant digits. And the key ones are the zeros. The zeros are the ones that mess people up all the time. If it's a number, it's significant. So this has 4. The new boards actually get right with your finger, so I've got to be careful touching the board. So this is where I was having problems the other day, putting these numbers in here. So this has 4. Zeros in between numbers are significant, so that has 6. Not too bad there, but I was having some problems there. Zeros, this one kind of messes people up a little bit too. 23.00, so those zeros at the end and to the right are significant. And that kind of screws people up a little bit. Just a quick review. Say I had a large graduated cylinder, I could get the number to 23, say milliliters. .0 is an even better graduated cylinder. Say a smaller one with a smaller diameter and more lines on it. Something like that is an even better graduated cylinder. So in math, again, this is one of the things we tried to talk about last year. In math, those doesn't matter. It's 23 across the board, but in science, it's a big deal. This is a pretty rough number. This is a pretty fine number. And so if you were doing something that was pretty important, so maybe somebody's life depended on it, or something along those lines, you would want a measuring tool that you can get a decent number of significant digits. So that one messes people up. If the decimal point's there, this indicates all are significant. Oh, having board issues there. And the other way to show it is instead of a decimal point, you can go with a line. So this has 3. And there's a section in your textbook that you can kind of take a look at, or look at significant figures online, or the links in the videos. These mess people up. So these zeros are not significant, they're just placeholders. That only has 1 significant digit. So that screws people up all the time. So that's kind of one to key in on. I'm going to put a couple arrows by that, just to focus in on that. And if there's no decimal points, all those zeros are not significant. So that only has 1 significant digit. So go ahead and take a look at that, and make sure you're comfortable with that. We kind of breeze through this. The one nice thing about scientific notation, and a lot of times why answers in books are in scientific notation, is everything that's in scientific notation is significant. So there's 4 digits, 6, 4, 4, 3, 1, and 1. So that's one nice thing about scientific notation. And you will see our textbooks last year, if you recall, a lot of the answers were in scientific notation. As why is that? And that's the reason why. So go ahead and, whoop. Oh yeah, some have infinite significant figures. So if it's an exact number, count of people, things like that, they have infinite sig figs. And then conversion factors, since they're exactly equal to each other, they have infinite sig figs also. And I'll have a video on conversion factors. So go ahead and determine the number of significant digits, significant figures in those numbers. And then I have the answer key at the end of the video. And I'll go ahead and show that page here in just a little bit. So, okay. And how we use it. So for multiplication and division, I'm trying to write least sig figs here. And they need to do some technical stuff with the board, and it's not working. So you go to the least number of sig figs. I guess maybe I'll just underline it right here, or box it in. So I'm going to do one of these. So you do your math on your calculator. I forgot to bring up my calculator, but hopefully I have my answer right here. Give me a second. I'm going to go get my answer key. Here you go. So if you do your calculator, depending on how your calculator is set, you may get varying numbers. Varying amounts of numbers off your calculator. So when I did it, mine I think was set to 8 or 9 digits. So 5812.3, 4, 6, 2, 4. There we go, 4 in there. So when you're multiplying or dividing, you take a look at the significant digits, the number of significant digits in the numbers you're dealing with. So 689.32 has 5 significant digits. 8.432 has 4 significant digits. So you want to go to least number, because that's the number you're least confident in. So your answer needs 4. So you start over from the left, go over 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to round to that spot. Okay. And when you're rounding, same rules as applied before. 0 to 4 goes down, 5 and up goes up. So look at the next number. Next digit is 3, so that stays down. So you report 5, 8, 1, 2. And again, it's a mess. I apologize for that, but we'll get that figured out here in the next couple weeks. And then you would have a unit associated with that in science. Okay. So you can go ahead and do these other ones if you want to do a little bit of practice, a little bit of review, and again, I'll have the answer key at the end. Okay. After we talk about that, addition and subtraction is decimal places. And this kind of messes people up a little bit. So it's the number of decimal places. So you can either line them up vertically and think about the furthest left decimal place, or just count up the decimal places. So in the example, this is 2 decimal places, this is 1, this is 2. So I want to go to the least number, that's 1 decimal place. So I go to that spot right there, and the board's kind of screwed. So I would look at the next number 6, so that rounds up, so it's going to go to 369.8. So on this first one, 8.6734 minus 4.8, you do that on your calculator or longhand, either way. You get 3.87334. And so you're going to go to, not significant digits, you got to go to decimal place. So this is 4 decimal places over, this is 1 place over, so you'll need to go 1 place over. So you're going to round. Thumbs up with a sensor there. Round to that spot, we'll round to 1 spot. I'm sorry, the 10th spot, 1 digit over from the decimal point. So 7's the next number, so we would round to 3.9. Okay, you can go ahead and go through those if you like, if you want to practice a little bit, and again, check the answer key at the end. And one last one is if it's a mix, then you got to use your rules separately. So use your order of operations like you do in math. So in a problem like this first one, you would do your subtraction first. So when you do your subtraction of 84.2 minus 3.516, you get 80.684. 0.684. And so you would want to use your subtraction rules with your decimal place. So this is 1 decimal place, this is 3. So I want to go over 1 decimal place. I'm still having issues there. So I will want to round to that spot. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that, but round to that spot. So next number is 8. 8 goes up. So the top would go to 80.7. And then that's still divided by the 14. Wow, this is terrible. 14.80. 14.80. So, okay, so do the top, do it with steps. Do the subtraction on top, so go to decimal place. Now you're going to divide, so you use your sig fig rules. So go ahead and do the math on the calculator, and you get 5.4. 5, 2, 7, 0, 2, 7, maybe some other numbers, depending on the settings on your calculator. And so now we want to use significant digits because we're dividing. Significant figures, 3 on the top. And remember the 0 at the end is significant, so 4 on the bottom. So I'm going to round to 3 significant digits, least number. So I want to go to 3 significant digits, start from the left, 1, 2, 3. Well, it just doesn't like that when I do that. So 1, 2, 3. And so I'm going to round to that spot. 2 goes down, the next number, so I would report 5.45. Okay, so again, you got to use your rules separately. So go ahead and take a look at that if you want. You can do that second one, but as far as the rules in the second one, you do the multiplication first, significant figures, and then subtraction, decimal place. Okay. So I'll leave that up for a second. Those are, we kind of talked about those, but here's the answers for the top half of the front page. Bottom half of the front page. And then there's the answers for the second page. And hopefully they're not too small. Hopefully you can see that, get in close enough to be able to see those answers if you want to check those a little bit. So, okay. So thanks for watching, and we'll improve the technical stuff as we go.